Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to make yourself more productive with AWS. So you're going to provision your resources using CloudFormation or any other infrastructure tool. But so we're going to use ChatGPT to basically write YAML files. So what this is how we're going to start. So generate write YAML files YAML file to generate VPC resources that I will specify below. So let's talk to it like we're human beings below. So like that certainly can help you. So it said we're good. So now first thing, so let's say first create a VPC of CIDR. So we're giving it our CIDR, so 10.0.0.0, let's say /16, and name it, let's say Kefa VPC. First create a VPC of CIDR this and name it Kefa VPC, and don't add anything. Do not add, and well, let's just specify because sometimes it tends to auto-generate things. So, and do not add any other resources. Name it Kefa VPC only. Do not add any other resources. Do not add any other resources. So let's see. Good. So first, so we have a resource. So we have here a resource called Kefa VPC, which is a type VPC with the CIDR block of this, and with so we have tags key, which is name Kefa VPC. So okay, so that is first. We've already created a VPC. Second thing we want to do to a VPC is what do we call? So after creating a VPC, next thing we need to do is probably let's try to add. Okay, we are assuming that this particular VPC will be able to connect to the internet. So in order to connect to the internet, we need to attach an internet gateway, right? So an internet gateway has to be attached, has to be created, and then it has to be attached. So next thing we're going to say, create an internet gateway. And name it Kefa IGW. I'm just using that because that is the first thing that came to my mind. You name it Kefa IGW. After which attach it. So the first thing you have to create when you create an internet gateway, you have to attach it. After which attach it to the VPC. See, so we're going to do that. Okay, so what have we done? So now our code has been so first thing we did is we created an IGW called Kefa IGW of type internet gateway with properties. Its name, we have tags, name is Kefa IGW, and then after creating it, you need to attach it, or if you do not attach it to your VPC, you're probably not going to access the internet. So we are attaching gateway, which is VPC gateway of type, and then we are attaching Kefa IGW to Kefa VPC. Good. So we already have a virtual private cloud and we have a VPC. So next thing, what should we usually do? Next thing we usually do, we want to place our resources differently. So we probably want to have one subnet. So I can actually now create a subnet. So I can say create. Create. Let's say a subnet, and name it. Create a subnet. Let's say create a subnet of CIDR clusters interdomain routing. You have to learn those in IP addressing. So create a subnet of CIDR. Let's say, for example, this time. So let's say 10.0.1.0, and then we can give it a 24. You can use anything. So because our CIDR was 10/16, we can use anything 17 and above, as long as because that is in range of 16. So people use a lot of 24 because people like to use a lot of 24 because you're grouping them into 8 bits. So /16 means you have the first 2 bits, /24 the first 3 bits, and then the last. So create a subnet of 10.0.0/24. So this is the first subnet, and so let's name it, and name it Kefa public. So name it Kefa public. Let's Kefa public subnet. Let's just name it Kefa public subnet. So we're going to create it. So we're going to create a subnet of this and name it Kefa create subnet, and of course add it to the VPC. So we are going to create a subnet within the particular VPC. Okay, so next is create Kefa public subnet. So it is of type subnet. Properties. So VPC, it's within the VPC, Kefa VPC. We have created a CIDR block this for it, 10.0.1.0/24, and now it exists. So its name is Kefa public subnet. So we have tags here. So good. So in this case, it has given US availability zone 1 as the default US East 1, which is okay. Okay, so now we're good. So up to this point, we're okay. So we have a public subnet. Now the thing we know about subnets is our subnet is only considered is not public because you say it is public. It is public specifically because you attach it to a route table. That is, let's say for example, you attach it to a route table that has routes that link to the internet. So now we actually have a subnet. So now we have an actual subnet. So we can add very different things. So now that we have a subnet, what can we do with a subnet? So in order for you to have a subnet, you put your resources inside a subnet. So let's say an EC2 instance inside it. Yeah. But in order for you to access, so for example, you want this EC2 instance to run something like a 3-tier web application, front-end application. What do? You place, let's say, you basically create your front-end application there, and then you want it to be able to connect to the internet. How? So at this point, we already have an internet gateway attached, and it's doing nothing. It's just attached. In order for traffic to be routed into your subnet, you need to have what we call a route table. So the next thing we're going to create is, let's say, create a route table. So we're going to say now create a route table. Create a route table and name it Kefa. Let's say Kefa RT for route table. So name it Kefa RT. So create a route table and name it Kefa RT. And what are we going to do? So this route table, we have a route table, and then add a route within, and add a route into a route table. Add a route to the internet, and the internet is 0.00/0 via the internet gateway. The internet gateway that we attached. So add a route to the internet via the gateway attached. After which associate it with the Kefa public subnet, the Kefa, let's say Kefa public subnet. See, so they're updating, so things are coming in. So you see how this makes your productivity much easier. Yeah. So right now we have internet route. So we have created a route table, and then of type route, and then number one, we've already it's attached to a gateway properties. So route table is called Kefa RT, and the destination is the internet, which is 0.0/0, and then obviously it's gateway. It's going through the Kefa internet gateway to the internet, and then we associate a route table. Yes. So it's subnet route table association. So we are going to associate this with the public subnet. So we are associating our route table with our public subnet. So now we can say that this Kefa public subnet is public because this route table is associated with it. So now you can actually come and copy this, and then you run it. When you run it, you're going to have a VPC with one subnet, and it has routes to the internet, and you can actually generate an EC2 instance inside that particular subnet. Now there's so many things you can add. You can even create, you can basically create, you can simply sit down and say we want to add an access control list to our EC2 instance. Add an access, let's say we can say add a knuckle to our Kefir public instance, to our Kefir, to the Kefir public, it's Kefir public, what was the name of that? Kefir public thingy, I'm not sure what was the name. Kefir public subnet, yes. Add a knuckle to the Kefir public subnet. Knuckle to that allows both inbound and outbound. Let's say outbound HTTP and HTTPS. So basically, we are blocking out every other thing that allows both. That only, you can say that only allows both inbound and outbound HTTP and HTTPS. So we are filtering out everything and only allowing HTTP and HTTPS. Yes. So we're going to do that. So it's generating, so everything is okay, and then up to at the end, we're creating wow, that's some long stuff. So you see Kefir public subnet ACL now. So we have its type network ACL, Kefir public subnet network ACL. It's actually figured out. We didn't even list it. It just picked up the name, added Kefir there. Then it's attached to our VPC, obviously, and then name value. And then inbound HTTP rule is ACL network entry. So you see protocol rule, it gave it a rule number. Protocol is this from 8080. Egress false alert. So basically this is HTTP rule, HTTPS rule being added, both inbound and outbound for both rules. And you can see with this you can actually do. So right now I have an issue with my account, so I cannot go into CloudFormation and try to provision these resources. But this should be an opener that there's probably better ways for you to improve your productivity using ChatGPT. Otherwise, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.